epidemics, poverty, the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. The reality is that climate change ranks right up there with every single one of them.
No nation is immune. We know what we have to do to avoid irreparable harm. And for the sake of future generations, our generation must move toward a global compact to confront a changing climate while we still can.
Well, that was Secretary of State John Kerry and most recently President Obama at a UN climate change summit. The administration hammering the message that man-made climate change is one of mankind's greatest threats. But our next guest disagrees. John Coleman is the co-founder of the Weather Channel, winner of the American Meteorological Society's Award for Broadcast Meteorologist of the Year, and he has spent more than 60 years reporting on the weather. John, good to see you tonight. And so upset were you by the claims of man-made global warming that you wrote a letter to the UCLA's Hammer Museum for their forum that was called Tackling Climate Change. And you said you don't have both sides represented, and I'm here to tell you that man-made global climate change is a myth. How can you say that?
Well, it's very easy, but thank you for having me on your program. You know, a climate skeptic can rarely get on TV ever since Al Gore made it a plank of the Democratic Party.
And they say you're Looney Tunes if you don't believe as he does.
You bet. And I've been in TV news organizations now for 60 years, and I only met 2 Republicans the whole time, and they were both hiding in the closet. I mean, this is a tough go for people who don't believe in climate change.
Well, we heard a lot of that from the last even presidential debate. I mean, even some of the Republican candidates up there suggested you are nuts. Remember John Huntsman? If you don't believe in man-made global climate change.
Well, it's very difficult for anybody to be against it because the media has told the nation over and over again, day after day, for 20 years, that the oceans are rising, the polar bears are dying, the sea, the ice is melting, that storms are going to sweep the earth, and that we're all going to die of a heat wave. I mean, this is an incredible bad science.
What's your data to the contrary?
A professor at UCLA named James Engstrom was very upset that the Hammer Museum Forum was going to not give both sides of the climate debate. So he suggested they should have Willie Soon from Harvard and me join that debate. And of course we were turned down. Well, I wrote a nice memo to the people at the Hammer Museum, and that got picked up by my friends at the Heartland Institute, a think tank in Chicago. They put out a press release, and voila, it's been all over the media. Not the mainstream media, of course, the internet, and
but what's your data to the contrary? And soon the Weather Channel will be canceled altogether. They will push it out of existence since you've taken this position. But let's get specific, because you talk about how the efforts to prove the theory that carbon dioxide is a significant greenhouse gas and that it's causing significant warming have failed, and yet the data say that carbon dioxide was proven to be a greenhouse gas in the 1957 paper by Roger Revelle. The EPA says it's a greenhouse gas. The scientific community has accepted that it's a greenhouse gas, and that the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has gone up since 1958.
Well, there are 9,000 PhDs and 31 scientists who have signed a petition that says it is not a significant greenhouse gas. Oh, it's a teeny, itsy-bitsy greenhouse gas, but it's not in any way significant, and we are sure of it. It's not like something I made up or just thought of. I've studied and studied and studied. And Roger Revelle, the great scientist who wrote that paper back in 1957 with Hans Suess, changed his mind a decade later and said, wait a minute, I think we were wrong. Don't anybody panic. I don't think there's any global warming. And that's when Al Gore said he was senile.
Al Gore, okay. Al Gore said he was senile.
Now,
okay, so speaking of Al Gore, let's remind the audience of what Al Gore said.
Roger Revelle taught it to him. He got a D, and yet he has made $1 billion off of climate change.
So
shame on you,
stand by, because I want to play Al Gore. So, and this is his argument, and then you can respond. Listen to him.
Starting in 1970, there was a precipitous drop-off in the amount and extent and thickness of the Arctic ice cap. It has diminished by 40% in 40 years. And there are now 2 major studies showing that within the next 50 to 70 years, in summertime, it will be completely gone.
Your thoughts on that?
Well, I would like to announce tonight to people who are friends of Al Gore's that, whoops, he got that one wrong. The Antarctic ice cap is at an all-time record high in both coverage and thickness, and the Arctic ice cap at the North Pole is at the highest it has been in several years. It's in its so-called normal range since we got satellite observations that could measure it. So not only is the ice not melting, more polar bears are alive and happy today than we've had in 100 years. Life is good, Miss Kelly. I got to tell you, life is good.
John Coleman, good to see you. Thanks for being here, sir. I hope the Weather Channel survives now. It's going to be, it's likely to lose its license. We appreciate you being here.